In this second installment of Why Isn't This Game Popular?, we will be taking a look at another indie side-scrolling game from 2017, Hollow Knight. In this series, we will be comparing the headlining game against one of the most popular titles in its class to see why one superseded the other. So just sit back and relax as we break down and show off this amazing 2D side-scroller, which is considered popular in the indie community but hasn't necessarily reached a wider audience. So, before we dive into our featured game Hollow Knight, let's first take a look at a similar game that has outperformed it in the long run. And that game is Cuphead, of course. Cuphead dropped about 7 months after Hollow Knight did. If we take a look at Google Trends, we can see that Cuphead surpassed it by a decent amount that year in comparison. To be fair, these games did not come out at the same time, and Cuphead is not metroidvania. But digging into total sales of units, Hollow Knight had sold about 2.8 million copies by February 2019. By September 2019, Cuphead had sold over 5 million copies. And when you search what is the most popular indie game of all time on Google, Cuphead comes up as number 1 on counterpart, with Hollow Knight landing 22 freaking places behind it. Dead Cells, the game I focused on in my first episode, lands 18 places behind Cuphead out of 50. I mean, who cares about counterpart, right? But being an active participant in gaming forums and on Discord servers, I rarely see Hollow Knight being mentioned or talked about at all, just like with Dead Cells. But you hear plenty of people talking about Minecraft, and Minecraft is an indie game. So why has Cuphead outperformed Hollow Knight so well? They are both side-scrollers, but two totally different games otherwise. Interesting lead character. Once again, the main character is an important element. Cuphead is unique and brought something different to the table in the way he was designed. He is a quirky, standout lead who is simply unforgettable. The name alone just sticks in your mind. Games that become big require a certain similarity to them, and Cuphead borrows his appearance from Mickey Mouse. That correlation resonates with people of all ages, while also helping it to bridge the gap between indie community and mainstream community. The developer of the game, Studio MDHR, was smart to make a character who will stand the test of time and is memorable for years to come. Unique game design and simplicity. This is where the game really nails it. It emulates 1930s cartoons and is the only game ever made to do this. It is extremely hard to do this type of artwork, and Cuphead goes above and beyond in this regard. It is a rare feat in video games today. It differentiates itself from anything else we have ever seen before. And not only that, it does not follow the traditional side-scrolling level-by-level design or Metroidvania map exploration. It goes with a stage-by-stage design that you get to choose at your leisure, focusing more on awe-inspiring boss battles than run-of-the-mill platforming. And it is simpler overall in its approach. No getting lost in this huge maze of a world, just pick a stage and run from left to right to the end. Or even simpler, just fight an over-the-top boss battle. The developers knew they had something special with this fresh breath of air in an oversaturated game genre. Game difficulty and marketing. While being a hard game may have worked against Dead Cells, for some reason it worked for Cuphead. Cuphead's reputation as being a challenging 2D game was a call-out to all the die-hard fans of the genre. It screams, "Can you beat me?" Anyone who thinks they are a badass when it comes to these type of games could not resist the urge to put their skills to the test here. I know for sure that was one of the main reasons I bought it. I needed to test my mettle. Furthermore, the way the game was marketed was done right. The developers obtained help from Microsoft, who picked it up and bought the license from them. For Xbox distribution, they did their publishing and marketing. They spent a ton of money to tell you just how special and unique Cuphead really is. And they were right. So Cuphead shows us how to enter the 2D side-scrolling genre and do it right the first time. But we need to move ahead to the game at hand. Hollow Knight.
Alright, here goes!
Hollow Knight is another challenging Metroidvania action-adventure 2D side-scroller. The game takes place in the beautiful world of Hollow Nest. You take control of an insect-like silent nameless knight as you explore twisting caverns, battle memorable creatures, and escape intricate traps, all while solving an ancient long-hidden mystery. In most areas of the game, you'll encounter hostile bugs and other creatures. At first, you simply start off with your primary nail weapon, which requires you to get close to kill enemies. Over time, you'll learn spells that will allow you to use your long-ranged attacks on them. Defeated foes drop currency called Geo, which you will need to buy special items and maps and other things. The knight starts off with a limited number of masks, which represent your health bar. When you attack and land hits on enemies, you gain soul points, which is stored in the soul vessel. This will enable you to heal yourself and use your spells. And as a side note, I really enjoyed the ability to heal myself when needed. As you progress into the game, you will need to acquire new skills and abilities to get past certain obstacles. Oftentimes in the game, you run into roadblocks that you will have to backtrack to once you have the right ability to overcome them. Classic Metroidvania. What Hollow Knight does right. Hollow Knight is an astonishingly beautiful game to look at. It is one of the most artistic 2D games I have ever gazed upon. The atmosphere is what makes the game so special. The world has the broadest use of a color palette I have ever seen in my life. I cannot get over how gorgeous the colors look and pop and how detailed things are. The graphics just have this vibrant feel to them and is unlike anything I've ever seen, quite honestly. The storyline here is also quite endearing. I loved learning about this unique fantasy world and all the little creatures in it. On top of that, the game's soundtrack is simply glorious. It has this constant melodic theme that really captivates you into the world that is Hollow Nest. Beyond that, the world is massive. The map just goes on and on as you dig deeper into the earth. As Metroidvania games go, this one takes it about as far as it possibly can. With so many secret areas to find and level upon levels to progress into, it certainly is an extensive game that will take you quite a while to fully explore. So Hollow Knight nails it, no pun intended, when it comes to its immersive world and compelling storyline. But what's holding this game back from breaking out of the indie gaming community? Why is Hollow Knight a bad game? When you ask Google, why is the game quote-unquote bad, this is the first thing that comes up, and I quote, "The game is poorly paced. There's not enough new abilities early on, and the items you do find fail to escalate the game or create the burning desire to play on. As the confusing map and game world gets bigger, enthusiasm fades as you wander around aimlessly, dreading backtracking rather than relishing it." I can somewhat understand why people might feel this way. The game does become confusing to navigate early on, and I got lost more times than I care to mention. Unless you equip the right item to see yourself on the map, you are pretty much running blind here. Even with this item, you will struggle to know where you're going or even where you really are. Oftentimes, the area you are currently in is blank until you find a bench, which really only reveals the path you have taken. For me though, I enjoy the exploration of this deep world. In fact, exploring is my favorite part of Metroidvania games. The pacing was also not something I took issue with. I found that the slow pace to get new spells and abilities made me play it more intensely to acquire those things and dragged out the experience in a good way. This all comes back to my thoughts on Dead Cells, that a game like this isn't necessarily for newcomers to the genre. If you have never played Metroid or Castlevania, you may feel entirely out of your element here. But for me though, I felt right at home in a game type that I truly enjoy. Again, a game is not open to the masses when the level of difficulty and learning curve is too much for the average gamer to approach it. Another no-name character. Like with Dead Cells, the main character is simply not on the same level of a Cuphead or Super Mario or Mega Man. Personally, I do think he comes close though. I really like this Hollow Knight dude. His look is cute, albeit simple in design. His simplistic appearance is what I find special about him. In an oversaturated genre, I think it's fair to say they did an adequate job making a fun-loving character. Hollow Knight is just popular enough. While the game may not have sold as well as Cuphead did, and is certainly not on the same level as, let's say, Super Mario or Mega Man, it did well enough to warrant a sequel. Hollow Knight Silksong has been in the works for quite some time now, and I keep thinking any day we will be getting a release date for it. However, it is highly likely that this next installment will be even more difficult than the original. We will have to see how this pans out, but I think going even further on the difficulty scale might be too much, even for me. Overall, I do believe Hollow Knight is a fantastic game that may become a long-lasting franchise. The action and battle mechanics are wonderfully well done, and the boss fights will push you to your limits. I can't say enough how much I truly enjoy this beautifully well-crafted game. So much is done right. But unfortunately, as good as the game is, it did nothing especially new in the Metroidvania genre. It can be way too difficult to navigate for newcomers, and just too hard overall, even for a veteran of these types of games. If you have not tried Hollow Knight and enjoy these types of games, I would say definitely give it a chance. If you love a challenge and enjoy 2D side-scrollers, this is one you should not miss. Its difficulty is very comparable to Cuphead, if that's what you are looking for. It is also very reasonably priced too, being 4 years old now, and many of you will likely get a lot out of it. Hollow Knight is a gem in my collection. I will be remembering it for years to come, and hopefully, there will be more sequels down the line to keep the story going well beyond Silksong. Final thoughts. I received some negative feedback in my first video for Dead Cells. Many people said that the concept was flawed for that game because of how well Dead Cells did in total sales, and its overwhelmingly positive review on Steam. And this video will likely be critiqued the same. However, I will say that I did go on Reddit and get feedback on its popularity before deciding to make this video. The overall takeaway was that Hollow Knight is popular in the indie community, but not necessarily outside of it. Indie games have small budgets and small development teams, making comparing them to big blockbusters like Super Mario and Grand Theft Auto totally unfair. But even so, it is still possible for the best of them to break through into the mainstream gaming community. I believe Cuphead is the prime example of this. When everything falls into place and you have a truly original concept that completely revitalizes the genre and does something so new that it can't be ignored, it becomes the perfect recipe for worldwide success. In my opinion, Hollow Knight's popularity in the indie community never broke through that barrier into the mainstream. I would say Cuphead did, and Minecraft most definitely did. Different style of game, but still a good example. Keeping that in mind, I think a video in this series for Hollow Knight is warranted. Thank you all for watching this new episode of Why Isn't This Game Popular? If you are enjoying this series, please subscribe to the channel and turn the bell on so you are notified when our next video drops. I will continue to do better every time I make one, and we would really appreciate the support. Because we work hard here at DDG to bring you quality videos that are not only enjoyable to watch, but can help you decide on whether or not to play a game and give it your time and attention. I hope this video has enticed you to try Hollow Knight if you've never tried it before. And for those of you who have played the game, I truly hope you agree with me when I say Hollow Knight is one hell of an experience with plenty of substance to keep you coming back for more. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.